Hey guys! Today's video is a music Q&A video, and I've collected questions that I've received over YouTube, Facebook, emails, all of that over the last month, I think. And obviously I'm not going to answer all of them, but I wanted to share some of the most frequently asked ones and the ones that are most interesting. First question is from a person with a scandalous username. They want to know, do you play violin as well? If so, is it easier to vibrate on violin or cello? The answer is I do play violin a little bit, but not where I would feel confident teaching it to anyone. I can get by doing a few things. And the other part of that question, is it easier to vibrate on violin or cello? That's difficult. Personally, for me, I think cello is a harder instrument to play just because it requires a lot more weight and a lot more muscle and power. And I'm sure that that affects the vibrato as well in some way. But violin does not just have one kind of vibrato. Cellists, only play with one type of vibrato, but violinists have more. So in that sense, there is more to learn on the violin, but as for which one is harder, I can't really say. I'm not that great at violin, and so you'd have to ask a real violinist. But in my opinion, I would probably say violin vibrato is harder because there's more to learn. This next question was just wondering how long it took you to get where you are now and if you have any tips. I started playing cello when I was 5 years old. I played around on the piano when I was probably 2. I don't know. I mean, when does it start actually counting? And then my parents bought me a violin when I was 3. A little baby violin. It was so cute. I've grown up in a musical household. I attribute any kind of talent that I have to my parents. They had me practice. They surrounded me with music. They set amazing examples. They're both professional musicians, so it was really just all because of them. As far as tips go, I would have to say listen. Listen to a ton of music. Whatever genre you want to become good at, you just need to get it in your ear. And then, be willing to put in the time. Be willing to put in the hours for practice. It doesn't take just a couple years. You have to be dedicated enough to sacrifice for years and years and years. It takes a lot of patience. I think another tip would be to find a private teacher. Yes, you can teach yourself, but only to a certain level. You just really need that accountability, I think, and that extra perspective to really help you become as good of a musician as you can be. I think the best advice that I could give you is in the video that I'm linking right now, the 5 biggest mistakes that musicians can make. Oh, this is a cute question. I actually just saw this by GGLover101. My YouTube channel name must be really boring compared to everybody else's. This next question asks, hey Sarah, I'm doing this exact cover for my ballet performance. Oh, this was on Moon River, by the way. I wondered if you ever liked dance or only music. To answer your question, I love dance. I adore dance, and I begged my parents to put me in ballet classes, but they had me focus on cello, which I should be grateful for, but part of me is still a little bit bitter, just a little bit, especially because my aunt was a professional ballet dancer. She was with a company, actually in Dallas, Fort Worth, yeah. She was beautiful. She is beautiful still. And I always wanted to be like her, but never got to do it. But I did do some dance a little bit. I was involved with some little hometown productions. So I don't know if it really counts, but yes, I love dance and I wish I did more of it. This next one is by M4RC4TO. I am curious as to what that stands for. This next question asks, hello Sarah, what strings do you use in your cello? Such a good question. I actually get asked this very frequently. The top 2 strings are Larsen and the bottom 2 are bel canto. I sound like a Texan. The bottom 2 strings, you have to be aware that in the first couple days of playing on them, they sound very, very bright and very loud. They do mellow out over time, so you gotta be patient with them. I was wondering if you could give advice on preventing tension with double stops. For some reason, I can't keep my hand rounded in these cases. The hand completely collapses, which creates a lot of tension. This is also a very good question. For double stops, your finger actually does flatten out. Usually we want to keep them rounded like this, but for double stops, it's okay to flatten out your finger. And sometimes, especially if I need to do a double stop on fourth finger, I will also put down third finger just for extra weight because fourth finger is so weak. So yes, very good question. This next one is by Sanderson Girl. I get asked this question a lot actually. Does anyone have the sheet music for it? I get asked this question on almost every single video that I produce is, where do you get the sheet music? And I wish I could be more help, but the problem is I don't use anybody else's sheet music. I always make my own arrangements and transcriptions. At some point I'll probably write those out, make them all pretty, and put them online. I don't know how copyright works with that though, so it might be a while. I have to figure all of that out. From Zoe E.N. What microphone are you using to record your music? I've gotten so many of these questions, which is funny because I'm not any kind of professional recording engineer, whatever they're called. I just use an AKG mic, one that my dad bought me for Christmas a long time ago. On that topic, if any of you actually are professional recording engineers or have had a lot of experience in that area, please give me advice. I am not an expert in this area. I play the instruments and I sing and I try to be creative as much as possible, but in terms of recording, videography, marketing, all of that stuff, I am in the process of learning. So if you guys have any tips or advice for me, that would be great. I would accept any recommendations or criticisms that you have because I need to keep learning. Now before I end this music Q&A video, I have a question for all of you. Actually, I have several questions. The first one is, what would you like to hear more of? I can do original music, I can do singing and playing cello simultaneously, I can do piano covers, I can do cello covers, I could do multi-instrumental covers, or maybe solo vocal with a backing track. I always appreciate the feedback that you give me because you guys have such great ideas and I love the song suggestions that you give, and I'm going to try to do more of them. So yes, please let me know what kind of genre or arrangement or which things that you prefer most. You know, I can't promise to do it all the time. Still got to mix it up once in a while, but yes, any suggestions are very, very welcome. So about Christmas, I know what songs I would like to cover, but I want to know which songs you would like me to cover. I'm so excited about Christmas. Please get back with me with some good suggestions. That is a hard word. If you guys have any more questions, comments, anything like that, always feel free to message me, comment on the videos, all that good stuff. And as always, I hope that this video helped.